Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, please welcome to the Peacestock stage this year's first place winner of the Alliance of Peacemakers Peace Essay Contest, Daisy Leonard from the amazing Kessler-Leonard Peacemaking family. Here's Daisy.
First off, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Originally, I came here to kind of pick up my check and everything, but, as I stayed here all day and I came at 11 and I've been a part of the music and the speakers, I've been really happy to be here, and I'm so glad that I didn't just drop it. So thank you. Alright, so my essay is called Becoming Comfortable with Being Uncomfortable. I once described peace building as creating connections and understanding among people, working to alleviate injustice, suffering, ignorance, and hate. But my unexpected journey of discovery taught me that true peace building goes far beyond the words that describe it. I was born in China, my younger sisters were born in India and Ethiopia, and my parents are Caucasian Americans. We grew up in a Christian church in a kind-hearted white community, where people embrace diversity, even though there isn't much of it, host peace rallies, fundraisers, and Feed My Starving Children events for poor children in Africa. By middle school, however, my parents decided we needed to understand the world beyond our town. So we embarked on an unconventional cultural learning adventure. Every year for the past 5 years, our family has connected with a different religious group in Minnesota. Not to judge or to join, but to better understand the values, beliefs, histories, and traditions of others, and find commonalities as humans. Honestly, I was uncomfortable doing this. If my parents didn't force me, I never would have gone. But from the Hindu Mandir, to the Buddhist Sakya Center, to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, to the Jewish synagogue, and currently the Islamic mosque, while everyone was always surprised by our request to spend a year with them, they welcomed us with open arms. Every week we participated in their services, learned their languages, danced at their celebrations, and cried at their funerals. We've celebrated Diwali, Losar, Passover, Ramadan, Iftar, Ethiopian Orthodox, Easter, and among other holidays. As we became part of their extended families, my peace-building perspective began to change. Hearing about neo-Nazis in Charlottesville or bomb threats to synagogues feels different when you're sitting in the middle of a synagogue next to the ones being threatened. Threats toward them were now threats toward me, literally. Hearing about Muslim bans and Islamophobic comments feels different when you're sitting in the middle of a mosque, watching the tears of the people being targeted. Their grief about atrocities being committed against Muslims in Syria, Myanmar, Iraq, and Palestine became my grief too. Joining them week after week, shoulder to shoulder in prayer, song, and even coffee hour, let them know that we weren't just with them, we were really with them. And the stories of our kinship were shared throughout their extended families, communities, and even countries. I also discovered that while their kids cherished their cultures, they understood little about others around them. They felt misunderstood at school, and their fear of discrimination kept them close to their communities and even more isolated as a result. Reflecting back on my white church days, I realized how hard it is to get to know what the minority feels like when you are so entrenched in the majority. My new proximity helped me understand how so many world conflicts get started and never seem to end. Since I knew all these different teens, I decided to create a platform where they could meet each other, correct misunderstandings, and support one another as friends. For months, I drove to different religious places and made presentations to the teens, youth directors, and parents, explaining how this union could help their children have a safer future. But while the teens were excited, the adults weren't. Coaxing them out of their comfort zones was challenging. After a whole year, I finally recruited a Muslim, Christian, and Buddhist team to the group, and I'm still working on the others. Building connections and understanding among people takes time, and peace builders must be persistent. The importance of building connections got me reflecting on a Feed My Starving Children event I once helped out at. The team leader shared statistics on poor children in Africa and how the food aid would help them. They made us feel like heroes for helping. We were important. But now I wondered about those children who received the food. Did they feel grateful for what we did, or helpless because they couldn't help themselves? Did they feel comforted by the aid of strangers, or reminded that they were the victims? If being heroes helps us feel important, how could anyone create peace if the African kids couldn't feel like heroes too? When working to alleviate injustice, suffering, ignorance, and hate, peace building needs to be inclusive. Last summer, my sisters and I helped out at a fundraiser that provided sponsorships for impoverished girls in Togo to attend school. And this time, instead of just donating money for 3 girls to go to school, we decided to Skype with them monthly as well. Luckily, the organization could facilitate this. During the first 2 Skypes, the 6 of us made small talk. Favorite foods, activities, the weather. But my sisters and I noticed the Togo girls repeatedly thanked us for helping them. Like once again, we were the heroes and they were the victims. But during our 3rd Skype meeting, something changed. We discovered our shared love of reading, and this was a game changer. The 6 of us created a book club where each month my sisters and I buy books for their school library in Togo. Unlike our school library, theirs only had 4 books. These books would connect us and expand our perspectives through reading and discussing together. Already, we've covered everything from morality and personal integrity to the influences of the modern world on cultural traditions. We've discussed the roles of elders and the rebellion of youth. We've discussed arranged marriages, dowries, women's independence, and even fortune tellers. No longer heroes and victims, we are now partners and peace builders on both sides. Peace building is still building connections and understanding among people and working to alleviate injustice, suffering, ignorance, and hate. But I learned that only by risking our own vulnerability and crossing into others' worlds can we possess a level of empathy where thoughts, prayers, and fundraising cannot reach. Peace building is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable until it becomes a way of life. When we're no longer aware that we are peace building, we become the most effective peace builders of all. Thank you.